Tonight, the pressure is mounting on ice hockey's national governing body to make a leadership change as a major sponsor walks away. Also, a problem in Saskatchewan and right across the country. Fewer and fewer doctors are taking on new patients. Plus, a joyous day. Cosmo Industries welcomes back its clients in Saskatoon at its first public event in 3 years.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Wednesday, October 5th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Pressure continues to mount on Hockey Canada to purge its senior leadership. The sport's national governing body has been immersed in controversy over its handling of sexual assault allegations. Now, a day after testimony from the chair of Hockey Canada that cast the organization as the victim, two of the biggest provincial federations say they're going to stop transferring registration fees. Ashley Burke has the details.
On Parliament Hill today, more pressure on Hockey Canada.
It boggles the mind that Hockey Canada is continuing to dig in its heels.
It's clear right now that the leadership doesn't get it.
They've doubled down, and it's disgusting, really.
As Hockey Canada digs in, Hockey Quebec is pulling funding, saying it's lost confidence in leadership to make real change.
It also sends the message to the leaders of the organization that are holding on to their jobs that Hockey Canada doesn't belong to them.
The Minister of Sport says it belongs to provincial organizations that transfer registration fees in return for services like insurance and vote on who makes up Hockey Canada's board of directors.
Since the leaders of Hockey Canada are holding on to their jobs, the voting members need to clean the house.
One reason Hockey Quebec says it's stopping transferring registration fees, Hockey Canada's hiring of crisis management firm Navigator, and says it's troubling that no experts in sexual violence, abuse, or bullying were consulted for its action plan.
They've spent a lot of money on Navigator. It's a company that is trying to put the narrative of they're great guys, nothing's wrong, we're going to change, everything will be fine. Well, that's not the case in this country.
The leader is not being protected.
Yesterday, Hockey Canada's interim chair of its board of directors said she supports the current leadership team, including its president, Scott Smith.
What grade from an A to an F would you give him in his role at Hockey Canada right now?
I would say that he's conducting himself as an A.
Canadians aren't giving them an A. That's what's clear. And Canadians are demanding change.
We could see others follow.
Former pro player and sexual assault survivor Sheldon Kennedy says there's pent-up frustration from provincial organizations and more could do the same as Quebec.
We have to make decisions in the best interest of those kids that want to play the game, because let's face it, the game is hurting.
The Ontario Hockey Federation says that it requested in July that Hockey Canada stop taking its registration fees. That's $3 a player. But in a statement today, Ontario said that that request was never processed, and now it's re-upping that ask in light of Quebec's latest move. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
And there was even more pressure heaped on Hockey Canada today by one of its biggest sponsors. In a statement to CBC, Tim Horton said, quote, "The organization needs to take a strong and definitive action before it can regain the faith and trust of Canadians. We're deeply disappointed in the lack of progress that Hockey Canada has made to date. We officially informed Hockey Canada this week that we have pulled out of all men's hockey programming for the 2022-23 season, including the Men's World Junior Championship. We continue to fund Canada's women's and para-hockey teams as well as youth hockey," end quote. A Saskatchewan First Nation is calling for help for a second time because of gang violence and drug activity. The Buffalo River Dene Nation reinstated its state of emergency from June. It was issued in June for the same concerns. The nation's chief, Norma Catarat, says the reserve needs policing and mental health supports. That includes a detox center and more officers to monitor the community. These calls follow a brutal case of elder abuse Catarat detailed during a news conference this afternoon. She says gang members are intimidating people in the community.
In Buffalo River, we do not have a mental health unit. We do not have a treatment center. We do not have a detox center. We have NADAT workers and mental health therapists that work with the community members, and they are limited resources and they are overworked. So we don't have the capacity in the community. Our people have to leave the community. We are using our own resources to put additional security.
The chief says she wants an additional 20 security guards in the community immediately. On top of that, she also wants self-defense classes available, especially for the elders. The move echoes calls by other bands for increased First Nations policing on reserves, including the James Smith Cree Nation, where the recent fatal stabbings took place. As her family waits for human remains during the search to be identified, Saskatoon police say they're looking for a 9th and final suspect in the death of Megan Gallagher. Police say they're looking for this woman, 24-year-old Summer Sky Henry. She's wanted for first-degree murder in Gallagher's death. The 30-year-old went missing 2 years ago. Her disappearance now being investigated as a homicide. 8 people have already been arrested and charged in connection. The offenses include first-degree murder, assault, unlawful confinement, and committing an indignity to a body. The family says they believe the remains found last week are her, but the identification process is not yet complete. A jury has found the former leader of the now defunct Canadian Nationalist Party guilty of hate speech against Jewish people. It comes after RCMP launched an investigation into an online video featuring Travis Patron in 2019. It shows him denouncing what he describes as the, quote, parasitic tribe or black sheep, end quote, who he claims controls the media and the Central Bank of Canada. The Crown says the video evidence spoke for itself in this trial. Plus, having the Jewish woman who first alerted police to the video testify also made a difference.
You start out with really what looks like a victimless crime, right? It's hate speech on the internet. Where's the victim? And yet we heard from a complainant during the course of this trial, and it really brought home the fact that words do matter.
The Crown is looking for a 1-year jail sentence, half of which Patron has already served in remand time. He's due back in court for sentencing later this month. If you are having trouble finding a family doctor in this province, you are not alone. It's becoming increasingly more difficult to get one in Saskatchewan. In Saskatoon, the Saskatchewan Health Authority shows there are 0 clinics accepting new patients. One family doctor says decreasing access to primary health care is a problem across the province and the country, and he says it's a major concern.
Having a family doctor has been shown in multiple different studies to reduce your healthcare costs and reduce the amount of time you spend in the hospital, reduces costs to the system. It has been shown time and time again to save downstream costs. People that have a family physician live longer than people that don't have a family physician, and so it is important.
O'Giglo says the primary healthcare system needs reform. He says family physicians are bogged down by the business side of running a clinic. They're also paid with a fee-for-service model rather than an hourly wage, and he says this structure can scare away new doctors. Ukrainian newcomers living in Saskatchewan are eligible now for child benefits and won't have to pay tuition fees for K-12 schooling. The province announced the changes today. Ukrainians in Canada under an emergency authorization will be able to live, work, and travel in the country for 3 years. After that, they can apply to become permanent residents. Because they're considered temporary residents, they're not eligible for all government programs. Ukrainian families will also have access to the child benefit programs within the Ministry of Social Services, and they'll also be waived tuition fees for students attending kindergarten to grade 12. 400 Ukrainian newcomers have enrolled in schools. The province says 1,900 people who fled the war in Ukraine now have Saskatchewan health cards. Regina's executive committee has cleared the way for the introduction of new automated water meters. Today, executive committee passed amendments to the city's water bylaw that will help facilitate the new technology. Starting this month, new meters will be installed in every business and home in Regina. Should be done by spring of 2025. Mayor Sandra Masters says the new technology will help homeowners and the city obtain its goal of reaching net zero emissions by 2050.
In terms of conserving water, they will have the information of from their household in a format which helps to inform their choices and their household management. In addition, there's the added benefit of not having city vehicles driving around every city street, pointing meter guns at homes, taking readings. And so we're getting some vehicles and some of that usage off the streets.
The $42 million project is already budgeted in the city's capital plan. Many of the existing water meters in Regina are nearing the end of their life cycle. City staff say that's why it's the perfect time to carry out the upgrades. The bylaw amendments must still be passed at a meeting of City Council to go into effect. It was a joyous day for Saskatoon's Cosmopolitan Industries. The organization held an open house this afternoon for the first time in 3 years because of the pandemic. Cosmo supports almost 400 people with intellectual and related disabilities. It provides them with workplace training and opportunities. The head of the organization says it's great to welcome back the public.
It's fantastic. When we can have the community who supports Cosmo so much, to have them come in and see what we all do. We're very much a part of the community and greatly appreciate the support that we get.
The organization was able to make renovations to its day program building in part thanks to $100,000 from the provincial government. The building is now more accessible with brighter lighting and leveled floors. Cosmo is well known for its recycling program, but today a new plant pot washing system was also unveiled. Program participants clean the pots so that they can be reused, keeping 200,000 plant pots out of the landfill every year. Well, it was a gorgeous day to do a loop around Wascana Lake in Regina with your four-legged friend. Significantly cooler today, though, and the wind did not help. Halfway through the week, though, all eyes now to the long weekend. Ethan will have your forecast after the break. Stay with us. We've all noticed the rising cost of food lately. For people in remote northern communities, many food items have always been much more expensive than they are in the south. Austin Grabish flew to the Manitoba community of Puckatawagan to show us why the opening of a new store had people celebrating.
A song of celebration, photos to remember the day, and the ribbons cut to welcome a new community-owned store.
The people have waited for a very long time to have a store, to call it their own.
Well, it's great, nice. First time I've seen a new store.
Perhaps the most significant part of this store's opening are the prices. People in the community tell us they're about half of what they pay for the same products down the street at the current northern store.
Last week we picked up 4 bags of groceries. It was a little bit over $400. We pick up a cart full today and it's just a little over $200. So huge difference. And we're still making money at these prices.
This new $5.4 million grocery store on the remote Matthias Colomb Cree Nation in Puckatawagan is a game changer. It has fresh, healthy food, an in-store bakery, and was made possible through a loan taken out by the on-reserve community of about 2,500.
We're hoping to have a profit, but mostly it's for the community members that they don't need to go and shop out of town because that's what we do.
Chief Lorna Biggity says the store gives her remote Indigenous community independence. Up until the grocer's opening, the Northern store had a monopoly on food. At the Northern, a frozen pizza is $16.49, a loaf of bread $6.59, and a tub of margarine over $14. To get cheaper groceries, residents pay to ship in food on a train from The Pas 8 hours south.
This is a deal, $16.99. If you shop in the Pas, it's like $25, $30.
Puckatawagan is also celebrating the opening of a new band office and tiny homes for residents to live in. It's all part of the community taking charge of its future, and Chief Biggity says there's more to come.
There is going to be a hotel, the restaurant, and some other ways of pulling in the money to stay in here in our community instead of leaving.
The store is expected to create 12 jobs. The hope is that it becomes a model for other remote Indigenous communities. Austin Grabish, CBC News, Puckatawagan.
This weather update is brought to you by Capital Ford Lincoln. 22 model clear out is on now.
And CBC weather specialist Ethan Williams joins me now. Quite the temperature drop from yesterday.
Yeah, that autumn chill really starting to get into our bones, and that it's only just going to get chillier from here, but not for too long. But for tonight and tomorrow, it will be quite chilly, and indeed, we are starting to see that now with high pressure moving into the north. We're in the minus temperatures right now in the northeast. Quite a spread, though, closer to 15 still in the southwest part of the province. And you can really see that temperature divide here. About a 10-degree difference at this point between Hudson Bay and Maple Creek. Regina, Saskatoon, both sitting around 10 degrees at this point. Now, that high pressure system that's responsible for this sitting over the north at this point. In the southwest part of the province, we could still see some showers through the evening hours tonight before those start to move out as we head into early tomorrow morning. And then by tomorrow afternoon, high pressure centered right over Saskatchewan and Manitoba. That really giving us clear conditions, and really all of Western Canada going to be seeing not too significant weather. And even as we head toward that holiday long weekend, our weather going to remain pretty quiet here. It's to our northeast where the active weather will be. Low pressure system over Hudson Bay bringing some rain and mixed precipitation, even some snow. Now, this next high pressure system that's moving in is a little bit different, and I'll tell you why. We measure barometric pressure in with something called millibars, and Saskatchewan, usually our barometric pressure is sitting around 1,000 millibars. Even a 10 millibar shift, so 1,010 down to 990, can have a significant impact on our weather. This next high pressure system that's moving in is around 1,040 millibars. So that's why temperatures are really dropping, really getting cleared out. And there's even a possibility that we could set a barometric pressure monthly record. Environment Canada doesn't keep records, but there are a few keen weather watchers out there who may have that information for us in the coming days. And this is the result. 48-hour temperature differences. These are highs yesterday compared to what's forecast tomorrow. Big cool down, 15 degrees through much of south and central, 10 to around 10-degree difference in places like North Battleford and Swift Current. And yes, we are bringing out the dreaded wind chill map, because tonight with some winds, it's going to feel close to -10 along the Parkland and up toward Prince Albert, and even Regina feeling around -6. And tomorrow morning going to be quite chilly, between -5 and -10 along the eastern part of the province. Actually still quite nice in the southwest. Now winds going to pick up through the night, and that's what's fueling that wind chill in the south. They're going to be out of the highest winds will be in the north tomorrow. High pressure means that we'll be fairly calm in south and central, and then Friday, as that high pressure lingers, we will see those winds remaining calm. Highest winds will be in Manitoba likely. Now, again, this isn't going to last for too long. By Friday, Saturday, as we head into that holiday weekend, looking very nice. And really our next big chance for active weather will be Tuesday, where we'll be quite windy and rainy potentially. Saskatoon, we will get to around 10 degrees, another cool night. And then the warm-up returns as we head into Thanksgiving. So that dreaded weather bomb of 2008 you mentioned last night, Sam, doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Fabulous. Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
Atacama Desert in Chile is one of the driest and sunniest places in the world, but every 3 to 5 years, the usually barren land is carpeted purple by a riot of nearly 200 types of flowers. The remarkable natural phenomenon is known to occur in some deserts after unusually high rainfall. The establishment of this new desert blooming national park is meant to preserve and protect the area. The country's president also hopes it will boost tourism for the region. We'll be back after the break. Liz Truss should be celebrating her first month as Britain's Prime Minister. Instead, she's fighting for her job. She sent the markets plunging in late September and may now be facing an internal revolt just after a month. Abby Kuga-Dawson has more.
Her government in turmoil, British Prime Minister Liz Truss closed out the 4-day Conservative Party conference today. She pushed her economic policies, saying tax cutting and deregulation were the way forward, morally and economically. She made promises, but no new policy announcements. In the last 2 weeks, there has been market chaos after her government announced a mini budget. The pound sterling crashed, mortgage rates went up, and the International Monetary Fund felt the need to warn a G7 nation on its fiscal policies. Truss made a partial reversal on a top-rate tax cut, but today she reiterated her belief that cuts foster growth.
As the last few weeks have shown, it will be difficult. Whenever there's change, there is disruption. And not everybody will be in favour of change, but everyone will benefit from the results.
Greenpeace activists interrupted her speech, protesting her plans to bring back fracking. Truss brushed them off as members of the anti-growth coalition. But trouble is brewing within her own party, too. Within a cabinet she selected, concerns about her plans to cut benefits during a cost of living crisis. Some Conservative MPs have attacked their own colleagues for pushing Truss to reverse the top tax rate cut. Others are angry with Truss herself for placing their party in this position, with Labour now leading them in the polls by 25 points.
It's a bit too early to see, but I think it wasn't a disaster, which that's the good news of the Conservative Party.
Our whole speech was very good because it set out sound Conservative principles.
Our own people have the right to discuss and to scrutinise and to debate what we're deciding, but ultimately the party is united.
Party solidarity clear, but uncertainty over support for a prime minister who's only been on the job for less than a month. Uncertainty, too, about her future in that job. Abby Kuadas in CBC News, London.
U.S. President Joe Biden took a first-hand look today at the devastation left behind by Hurricane Ian in Florida. Biden went to Fort Myers, where he pledged federal, state, and local governments would work together to rebuild hard-hit communities.
Today, we have one job, and only one job, and that's to make sure the people of Florida get everything that they need to thoroughly recover.
The U.S. President and First Lady Jill Biden joined the Florida governor to survey some of the worst damage along the southwest coast. The area was heavily affected by the Category 4 storm that hit 1 week ago. In some parts, 80% of buildings need to be rebuilt. Hundreds of thousands remain without power, many without access to food and clean water. At least 75 people are known to have died in Florida, 5 in North Carolina, and 1 in Virginia. And Ethan is back with one last look at tonight's weather, and I'm left wondering if I will have to scrape tomorrow morning.
I think that's definitely a possibility, Sam. Our first minus temperature that I've had to put on here this season at 8 a.m. in Regina, -2. East winds making that feel a little chillier, probably closer to -5. Mainly sunny conditions. Get to the noon hour and we're really not warming up all that much. In fact, this is pretty close to our high at 6 degrees. Winds remaining light, though, because of that high pressure. In Saskatoon, -3 under completely sunny skies. Southeast winds just under 20 kilometers an hour. Sun sticks around, the nice clear skies, 6 degrees again. That is getting just below where our high should be. Southeast winds at about 18 kilometers an hour. Now, of course, this high pressure means sunny skies, and that does make for some very nice photos, including this one that Katie sent us from Saskatoon. Of course, we all love dogs, Sam, but there's something so nice about a pup against the sunset. It looks so beautiful.
It's true, and they have the warm coats that we're going to need tomorrow morning.
Yes, I wish we all had that.
Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
And that is it for us tonight. For news anytime, you can always head to our website or subscribe to CBC Saskatchewan's YouTube channel. Glenn Reed and Ethan will be back with local news tonight at 11. Thanks for watching, and have a great night.